Oh my God, I got a reservation of rights letter? What do we do? I'm Matt Mulholland. That's Remington Huggins. This is the Reservation of Rights episode. Let's do it. All right, so we're talking about reservation of rights. This is a document that a lot of people get, especially, a couple months into a claim. And it's a paper that usually says something along the lines of, we reserve our right to deny the claim or reserve all the rights that we still have in the policy. We're still performing our investigation. We need X amount of time more to do our investigation. We're performing this action. We reserve our right to deny the claim still. This is a document that's sent in. It's just known generally as the reservation of rights. What is the significance of this thing?
Yeah, and also sometimes the reservation of rights, also known as the ROR, it might just be a paragraph. Like it might have like a letter, and then at the end it has like reservation of rights language.
Yeah,
it might not be labeled reservation of rights,
often
but it will
isn't.
Say it. Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever seen one that was labeled that way, to be honest.
Right.
Maybe
so
there are.
It's usually in a paragraph in some type of correspondence, but exactly what Matt said. I'm just going to give you an example. Let's say there's a fire that occurs at a home. The insurance company comes out, says, your house is damaged. We're going to give you, 12 months of ALE. Throughout the adjustment of the claim, the fire report comes back. There's some suspicious activity. They want to investigate the claim. Reservation of rights. Yes, okay, we might have paid for your ALE for the time being, but we're gonna investigate this claim. So it allows the insurance company, to honestly pull back coverage in a sense, or have the right to deny the claim at a later date after their investigation concludes.
Okay. Is this something that we should be fighting against? Is it okay for them to do that?
They can send out a reservation of rights. I see it all the time. A lot of attorneys would probably frown upon this, but it doesn't affect me.
I don't think it matters at all.
It doesn't affect me at all. Okay, yeah. Great.
What if they don't send it? Does that mean that they don't have those rights anymore? Are they waiving their rights?
I think it's real just extra CYA on their part.
They're covering their ass.
Let's all be honest. If they find out that if that homeowner, if they found out that he actually lit his house on fire, regardless of the ROR or not, they're going to deny the claim.
And they have every right to, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even if they've affirmed coverage already, they can change their opinion if it ends up being something like that, right?
Right.
So why would they ever send this in then? It just cover your ass?
It's a CYA thing.
I know that in some states they have a certain period of time to perform their investigation and come up with a claims decision. And sometimes it takes longer than that amount of time. Correct. And so oftentimes I'll get an ROR if they are going to take longer to investigate because they're required to tell you why it's taking longer in some states. And so they'll send in a letter saying their investigation continues and that they're going to do this or this, and then they'll have their reservation of rights language attached to that document. Is that a requirement, you think, or is this just internal procedure?
I don't think it's a requirement. I've never in my career have heard of a plaintiff's attorney that's representing a policyholder be successful on arguing that they didn't send a reservation of rights and therefore the rights under the policy have been diminished. I've never heard of that actually happening, right?
I mean, if that was something that was happening, then the policyholder should be sending in a reservation of rights constantly too. And we're not doing that.
If you think about it, their reservation of rights is a lawsuit. They're preserving their rights under the policy once they file that lawsuit. They're not letting the rights expire.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. If they hit the suit with tip spear, they're filing that suit reserves their rights to the policy.
It preserves the rights to the policy. So that's just, that's the way I look. Now, you could say that's apples and oranges a little bit, but they're reserving their rights and they're preserving them.
Yeah.
Their rights under the policy. So I've looked at it that way. A good example is when an examination under oath is requested, you can bet there's going to be reservation of rights language at the end of that EUO request.
Yeah, because if they discover something or they learn something that the policyholder is saying under oath that changes their claims decision or proves that the policyholder has been doing something inappropriate, any reason that they could deny the claim comes out, They want to be able to say that they can deny the claim. Now, if they already affirmed coverage and made payment, and then something comes out, such as an arson situation, would they be able to demand the payment back?
I think so.
I think for an arson situation,
for an arson situation, I think
if they say, well, actually, it wasn't hail anymore, it's wear and tear, according to our engineer, but they've already made some payment towards the hail. Oftentimes, they'll say, well, we're not going to pay any more, but we're not going to ask you for any money back. Are they even allowed to ask for money back in that kind of a situation?
There's different legal arguments to make in that scenario, promissory estoppel, things like that. But, and the reason why we're talking about this is because Matt and I were teaching a class, and one of the questions is I received a reservation of rights. Like,
what do I
should
do?
I be freaking out?
Yeah.
It's like, no. Literally just adjust the claim how you're going to be adjusting the claim.
You could almost ignore it. It really doesn't make a difference. Now, I do know PAs that adamantly fight against the reservation of rights every time they get it, and they are very adamant that you should be doing this. So can you think of any reason why someone would want to fight against the reservation of rights?
If they opened up coverage already, and you're just saying, oh, no, you can't backpedal now. But look, if you're just doing it to do it, like, don't waste your breath.
There's hills worth dying on. This isn't one of them.
Exactly.
There's so many things that we can fight and legitimately have a reason to fight it. If it's not going to benefit the policyholder in any way to fight this, why are you wasting your time on it?
Right. 100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's an issue that a lot of public adjusters and contractors have, is mostly public adjusters. We try to fight against everything because we think that every little thing that is happening is a strategy against us that all builds up. But we have to fight this. We have to fight this about this. You know what you could do? You could disagree with it verbally just to preserve the defense later on. Say, well, we did disagree with it. We said we did. We didn't agree to it. But we're not fighting tooth and nail on that one thing. We disagree with this, but let's talk about this other issue that actually matters and discuss this. So if you want to disagree, that's fine. But I don't think it's a hill worth dying on.
No, it's not. Look, you only got so much bandwidth per claim.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why are we going to argue with a desk adjuster for 3 weeks about reservation of rights when you should be actually arguing and talking with them and working with them to show coverage and how much the scope and cost is going to be of the loss?
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
And I see it. People do this more than you would think. I see it a lot. Reservation of rights. Continue adjusting the claim as if you never received it as a public adjuster, unless there's just really something specific in there that says why they're doing a reservation of rights. But it's typically just boilerplate. It's usually just a paragraph that says we reserve the rights.
On some kind of a form letter of some kind and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it's something that's really that concerning unless there is something very unique, your anomalous issue.
Exactly.
So, but that's very rare. So stop freaking out, guys. It's no big deal.
Agreed.
All right, we're talking about stuff that is discoverable by opposing counsel if you file suit. This is important things that you need to be aware of so that you don't accidentally screw up a claim or a file by thinking that they'll never see this. What are the discoverable things? I
just want to say this. If you are a contractor in insurance restoration, if you're a public adjuster, at some point, one of your claims is going to go to litigation. It's just going to happen. It's unavoidable. And I want to let everybody know, contractors, public adjusters, that all of your email correspondence with your client, whether it's between the contractor and the public adjuster, back and forth, that has to do with that specific claim, is discoverable. So what that means is that once it goes to litigation, the insurance company can send a subpoena and ask for all your correspondence, your claim file, your emails, and they can take a look at all of this.
What about notes in a CRM?
Notes as part of your file.
Messages inside the CRM for between you and another employee?
If you have messages during the ordinary course of business, that is discoverable.
What if it's in a notes section on the claim and a separate internal notes section on the same claim? Are both discoverable?
If there's a file with this claim, with this client's name on it, you're supposed to hand it over.
What if you get an estimate from one contractor and it comes in a lot lower than you wanted to, so then you got an estimate from another contractor and it's better and you submit that one? Is this one still discoverable?
It's absolutely discoverable. I can say this, when we get this discovery request, because our client that we represent says, give us all estimates that you have. We ask the client for all estimates. Mm-hmm. The public adjusters, we get one estimate that's 60% of what the first estimate that we've ever seen. We have to turn that over. We must turn that over. It's all discoverable.
I think that's a situation that happens a lot, probably.
It happens a ton.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is be careful. Like, just think before you send an email.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you when a contractor or public adjuster, and look, it's all about experience. If you haven't gone through it, you don't know. I'm trying to tell you before you have to go through this.
Yeah.
Emails that are so damaging to the situation. Like, and so I just say, be careful of what you put in writing, and just know that what you do put in writing could be in front of an insurance carrier's attorney and in front of a jury for that most.
Here's an interesting question, and maybe this doesn't have an answer yet. Do you think that a prompt written into ChatGPT or another AI is discoverable? Something where it says, help me write a letter to the insurance company that says X, Y, or Z. Would what their prompt is be discoverable?
I think just because AI is so new, I think there's going to be a lot of case law out on AI and what is discoverable and what's not. I can say this, like, if you get on to chat, hey, help me write this, blah, 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 blah. If you put your final product in the file, obviously that is. But, I mean, how's an attorney going to go back and see what you,
Yeah,
right?
It's software.
Right. And again, there are some other rules of evidence that, prevent some things that are privileged, so to speak, that won't be turned over. But
if you write an email as a contractor to the policyholder, say, I need you to send in an email that says this, that email is discoverable. They're going to see that you recommended that the policyholder send that in.
Exactly.
And violated probably the UPPA, Unlicensed Practice of Public Adjusting, by advising the client on how to handle a claim.
So just keep that in mind, contractors and public adjusters. Mm-hmm. What you put in writing could eventually be seen by the attorney for the insurance company. And
text messages?
They ask for text messages.
Mm-hmm.
So
voicemails?
Keep that in mind. What's that?
Voicemails?
Voicemails, if you have any voicemails.
Every photo taken for that claim?
Every photo taken for that claim.
All of it.
So, again, I'm saying this because I've been running into this a lot in the last, 12 months where I'm seeing emails that I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, just think before you send. That's all I ask, okay?
Yeah.
So.
Can they hide some of this stuff?
No. If you hide it, then it's against the law to try and hide evidence.
What happens if they do and they get caught?
You can get in trouble. Court can throw you in contempt. You getting evidence, you purposely erasing evidence that's going to hurt your client you're going to get in trouble. So, don't just start deleting a bunch of stuff. Okay. These insurance companies they're smart. Their attorneys are smart. Mm-hmm. They're going to pick up on this stuff.
If suddenly, inexplicably, your laptop was on fire for some reason, they'll probably think there's a reason for that.
Hey, all I'm trying to say is on this quick episode is think before you send.
Yep.
That's all.
That's it. That's enough of that shit.